Now that one right there. That way. Turn that way. Oh, baby. No, that way. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dinosaur. 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 Now that one out. A long time ago.
Okay, it is 9:40. So let's go ahead and begin. Save the attendance. Code today is ZUPAWAWR. Zapar. All right. So, oh, this is not written right. Okay, let's fix this. Okay, so let's say you have a 4590 triangle. Let's try that again. There we go. This is 45 degrees. This is 45 degrees. Got another person in here real quick. All right. And we're told that the hypotenuse is 10 square roots of 2 centimeters. Left out the square root of 2 in there. So if the hypotenuse is 10 square roots of 2 centimeters, tell me what the length of the legs are. I'll give you 3 minutes, and then we'll go over it.
Okay, now that one. That one. Right there. That one. What does it have on it? It's a dinosaur unit.
All of them have dinosaurs on it. This one with the green, red, pink, with all the dinosaurs on it?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. That one. Yeah. There's lots of dinosaurs in all the world.
Kids First TV.
Okay, let us go over this. So the key part to this problem is to notice that this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So whenever you see that, you should look in your notes and find that for all 45, 45, 90 triangles, the hypotenuse is equal to the leg times the square root of 2. That's the formula you need to use. For our case, our hypotenuse is 10 square roots of 2. So if I plug that in to my formula, I get 10 square roots of 2 is equal to the leg times the square root of 2. So again, you recognize what type of triangle it is. You then look in your notes for that triangle and see there's really only one formula for it. Plug in what you're given into that formula, and now we need to solve for the remaining part. So if I want to get a leg by itself, instead of multiplying by the square root of 2, I would divide by the square root of 2. And the nice thing about this problem is since there's a square root of 2 in the numerator and the denominator over here, it'll cancel over here and it'll cancel over here. So that leaves me with that the leg is just 10 centimeters. And again, because this is a 45, 45, 90, if one leg is 10 centimeters, the other is 2. All 45, 45, 90 triangles are isosceles because the base angles are congruent. That means the sides are congruent as well. All right, any questions about this problem? Okay, well then today we're going to talk about the other special right triangle, and that is the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So for a 30, 60, 90 triangle, it's a little bit harder, but not that much. For all 30, 60, 90 triangles, the hypotenuse is twice as long as the shortest leg, and the longer leg is square root of 3 times longer than the shorter leg. So what needs to go into your notes is this title, I guess this title, either one of these titles. And you need this picture along with these formulas. And be very clear on your labels. This is the hypotenuse. This is the shorter leg. And this is the logger leg. An easy way, for 45, 45, 90 triangles, we didn't have to have two separate labels for the legs because they were both equal to each other. For this one, we do. And it's really important to keep straight why they are the way they are. This side, it will always be the shorter leg if it is opposite the shorter angle. Which should make sense, right? This angle is only 30 degrees. So it is not going to open as wide as this angle of 60 does.
That's one.
Right? So the larger angle, the side opposite that larger angle will be the larger side as well. Because again, it opens wider, so then in fact it opens, twice as wide. So it is definitely going to be bigger than the other one. So as I said, when we were doing problems with the Pythagorean theorem, the hardest part or the most important part of solving those problems was the very first step, labeling. That's the same thing with 30, 60, 90 triangles. The hardest step is going to be labeling them right at the very beginning. If you can label them correctly, then using these formulas is actually not too bad. These are pretty simple formulas. Right, it's just a multiplication is all it is. Okay. Do I have any questions about what you're seeing in front of you? Does anyone need more time to write? This is probably the most important thing you're going to write down today.
Time.
Okay. So, yeah, totally legit. If you want more time, make sure you get it in your notes nice and properly. Because one of the nice things about having a problem where if you have it in your notes, you could solve it really easily. I should say one of the bad things about having a problem where if you have it in your notes, you can solve it really easily is if you don't have it in your notes, it makes it like almost impossible to solve. Like I would expect any of you on a quiz or a test to be able to deduce the pattern that's on the screen right now, right? That would be unreasonable. So if you have the notes in, or if you have the pattern in your notes, then those problems are doable. But if you don't have it written in your notes, then you're just going to get to that problem and be like, I have no idea what to do. And you'll be absolutely right. Like, how are you going to just pull those formulas out of thin air? It's not going to happen. I went to Oriental Express yesterday, and I got this new thing. I think it's Pyongyang curry. It's like this Thai-styled curry with peanut flavoring. Very good. Haven't had it before, but really impressed. My wife got the pad thai, but they put a lot of spice into it this time. So it's almost inedible. And it was kind of dry too. I hate that. That's the worst thing. I love a lot of Asian cooking, but when you get a dry noodle, like they don't put enough sauce on it, it's the worst. Just the worst. Can you think of something that's worse than getting a dry noodle dish? I know, you're all speechless. Like there's nothing worse than that. Okay, how about now? Does anyone need more time to write?
No.
Sorry, Wyatt, was that a yeah or a nuh-uh?
That wasn't no.
That's a nuh-uh. Okay. Sweet. Let's do some problems then. All right. You could ignore part of this. I couldn't crop the picture properly to fit in this. But I guess, I'll leave it. It's fine. All right. So we are, and this is how it'll look on the ACT too. They'll just give you a picture like this, and they'll say, find the value of S and T. So what you have to do first is look at this and realize that it is a special right triangle. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So that's the first thing you have to do is recognize that they're asking you about a special right triangle. Once you have recognized that, you will now need to label it accordingly. So T in this case will be the hypotenuse. It's opposite the 90-degree angle. All right, which one of these is the shorter leg, the 5 or the S? You cut out a little bit there.
S.
The S, that's exactly right. It is the one opposite the shorter angle. And just visually looking at it, it looks shorter, right? So this is the shorter leg. And this is the longer leg then. All right, once you have your labels correctly written down, we can now solve this using our formulas. All right. According to what we are given in this case is the longer leg. That's where we have to start. So if we look at our formulas, what formula has the longer leg in it? That's the second one. So we will have to start with this formula. The longer leg is equal to the shorter leg times the square root of 3. Okay, so this is the formula that we have to use. If we plug in our values into this formula, we will get that 5 is equal to S times the square root of 3. All right. I need to solve this for S. To get S by itself, what's the opposite of multiplying by the square root of 3? Well, the opposite of multiplying is?
Divide.
Divide. Exactly right. Okay, so S will be 5 divided by the square root of 3. Now, I do not like that answer or the format of that answer. So I would allow you to do either two things. One is in your calculator, go ahead and actually do that. 5 divided by the square root of 3 is 2.887. I would accept that as an answer. Or your other option is to simplify. Because again, we don't like having radicals in the denominator. So to simplify this, I would multiply the top and bottom by the denominator. Because then I would get S is equal to 5 square roots of 3 over the square root of 9 but the square root of 9 is just 3. So final answer is 5 square roots of 3 over 3. So again, I would accept this answer or this answer. To be honest, I prefer the second answer because this is an exact answer. I actually goofed here. I need to put squiggly lines here. This answer is not right, but it is very close. It's approximately right. I had to round to get this answer. This is exactly what the answer is. So again, I prefer the second. If you work for NASA, you'll do the second. They won't accept this first answer. If you're working in the medicinal field and you're trying to prepare the dosage of a drug or something like that, for some drugs, maybe it'll be okay for you to round at that. But for others, that could be big issues if you're causing that kind of rounding errors in your dosages, right? So again, it kind of depends what you're working on. If you're building a shed, probably doesn't matter. If you're building a skyscraper, you probably don't want that degree of inaccuracy. Okay, now that we have S, we need to find T. So to find the hypotenuse, we then look at our formulas and we just do the same thing. What formula do we have for the hypotenuse? Well, the hypotenuse is equal to the short leg times 2, which is a really easy formula to use. So if we plug into that formula, T will be equal to 2.887 times 2. And again, I can't really put an equal sign there. I have to put the squiggly equal sign, which says this is not exact. This is just approximate. But that's 5.773. Actually, 5.774. Or, again, if you use the exact value, T would be equal to 5 square roots of 3 over 3 times 2, which is 10 square roots of 3 over 3. So again, I would accept either of these answers for T. Second answer here is better than the first. But what are you going to do? So again, this really actually isn't very much different from what we were doing with 45, 45, 90 triangles. Or to be honest, really what we were doing different than the Pythagorean theorem. Your first step is the same. You label your triangle. The second step is you use your formula. The only change is we have a different set of formulas for this triangle than we did for 45, 45, 90, than we did for the Pythagorean theorem. So does anyone have any questions or would like some more time to write? And I'll answer questions about this or about Asian cuisine. I also tried a new sushi that had, I think it's tamago on it, which is like this fried egg that's put into the sushi. I actually like that. That was pretty good. Big fan. Okay. All right. That is really the end of the lecture. The rest of the hour is going to be just practicing. So you try this one. So find the value of h and t here. The first thing you need to do is label your triangle. Tell me what's the hypotenuse, what's the short side, and what's the long side. And then second, use your formulas to find h and t. I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay. So can anyone tell me which of these is the hypotenuse? H, T, or 7? That's right, H. Which of these is the short leg, T or 7? Yes, very good. And then T would be the long leg. So it doesn't really matter which formula you use first. I'm going to go ahead and let's use the first formula. Hypotenuse is equal to short times 2. So then if I plug in, we get h is equal to 7 times 2. So h is 14. Then let's use the second formula. Log is equal to short times the square root of 3. If I plug into this formula, we'll get t is equal to 7 times the square root of 3. And actually, that's just done. That's the answer. You can turn that into a decimal if you want to, but you're just making more work for yourself. You're actually making your answer, which was exactly right, into something that's only approximately right. All right. I don't know. You got questions on this? Or does anyone need more time to write? All righty. Let's try another. Okay. Same steps. First, label. Tell me what's the hypotenuse. What's the short leg? And what's the long leg? Short leg. Long leg. And then 2, use your formulas to find A and B. 3 minutes.
A fly one. A fly. Fly. That way. Go
Okay, let's go over these.
that
All right, so can anyone tell me what is the hypotenuse of this triangle?
No.
This one?
No.
This one?
Oh, turn that way.
This one?
No, that. No.
This one?
What do you think, Carmen? Which one of these is the hypotenuse?
Okay, we're gonna pick one thing.
Tay says 4. Does anyone agree?
Okay.
Christian, what do you think?
What movie do you wanna watch?
I would watch.
Natalia, Nisha, Nina, Richard, Wyatt, Xander?
Want one with dinosaurs?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, sweet.
What do you want? What movie do you wanna watch?
Just making sure people are still here. All right, very good. Yes, that's the hypotenuse. Good job. All right. Now, it isn't labeled what the 30-degree angle is, but to be honest, it really doesn't need to be labeled, right? If this is 60, then this one has to be 30. So hopefully you found that the short leg was A and the long leg was B. So really, to be honest, you only really need one of the angles labeled, and you should know what the other one is, right? If I tell you this is 30, you know the other one has to be 60. Because these have to add up to 180, right? And since this is already 90, the other two angles have to add up to 90. All right, so if we use our formulas, this time, since we are given the hypotenuse as our only one, we will have to use the hypotenuse formula first. Hypotenuse is equal to the short leg times 2. Plug in, we get 4 is equal to A times 2. I need to solve this for A. So I need to get rid of this times 2. Opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide. So A is 2. All right. Now I could use my other formula. The log leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. If I plug in, the log leg is B. And I don't need to plug in A anymore. I know what A is. A is 2 times the square root of 3. And again, you're done. That's already simplified. You don't need to turn that into a decimal. Answer is 2 square roots of 3. Questions on this one? Or does anyone need more time to write? Okay. Last one we're going to do. So we need to find the height of a tipping platform used to unload trucks. The ramp is 80 feet long and has a 30-degree tipping angle. We need to find the height. So I'm going to tell you that this part right here is the length of the ramp is 80. This is 30 degrees. And you need to tell me what is the height of the ramp we'll call H. So what is H? Again, label your triangle. Use your formulas. While you're working on that, as a reminder, this should then finish out the homework. You should be able to do all the problems on the homework now. Monday is going to be a work day. The homework is not due till Wednesday next week. Wednesday next week is going to be a quiz over 6.1, 2, and 3. 6.2 was due yesterday. So today is your last grace period. And to be honest, really, I'll probably accept it till Sunday. On Monday next week, I'll post the answer key to 6.2. And so if you don't have it turned in by then, you'll get a late. All right, because we're running out of time, I'll go ahead and solve this last one. You should have that the hypotenuse is 80 and the short leg is h. I really actually don't need to label what the log leg is because they actually don't ask us about it. My formula then is the hypotenuse is equal to the short leg times 2. So 80 will be equal to h times 2. Divide by h, divide by h, divide by h, sorry. Divide by 2, divide by 2, h is 40 feet. There you go. All right, it is 9:20. So once you're done writing that down, you can head off to 5th hour. If you have any questions about the homework or anything, you can email me or ask in class on Monday because Monday is just going to be, you have the hour to work on the assignment. All right, have a good one, everybody. See you later. By the way, you might have a sub Monday. Probably should have said that to my first hour as well, but whatever. But yeah, I should have.